Sooner or later, I always get my podcast. It's Harmless Phosphorescence. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Throw Smiley, and look what I did to my pretty tuxedo. Who's joining me this week?
I'm Josh Cece, and don't mind me. I'm just going to stare quietly at a wall and stab at a can of chili.
I'm Brian Lesh, but you can call me Dick Tracy Jr. if that's okay with you.
if you're nasty.
From now on.
You don't know if you want to hit me or kiss me. I get a lot of that. Alaric Weber.
A little from column A, a little from column B. And this is Harmless Phosphorescence. It's the podcast where we watch every theatrically released full-length live-action superhero movie ever made. We gather some research into the production and source material, and we tell you all about it. This show is brought to you by our patrons. Patrons like executive producers Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You can be a patron too. Go to patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. We got a ton of bonus episodes up there. We will very shortly be recording and putting up one on Jack and Jill. We're all very excited to discuss.
Dunkachino. That's all we care about.
We'll be talking about Dunkachino today.
Yeah, Dunkachino. I feel like this is the first Dunkachino.
Of many.
I feel like this movie broke something in Al Pacino's brain and he never came back.
You might be right. Because he was serious as a fucking heart attack for a long time.
Yeah, before this he was like, you broke my heart. And after this he's like, ha-ooh-ah!
I think he's pretty serious in this, you guys. I don't know.
He is.
Just because he's saying dumb things doesn't mean he's not doing it in a serious way.
He came to play, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We were talking...
Nietzsche.
Yeah, this is misquotes.
Yes. No, I don't know. It's too early to get into that. All right, we haven't even said what movie we're doing this week on Harmless Phosphorescence. We're watching Dick Tracy.
Tracy! It's like he's reading my mind.
Extra! Tracy Battles move!
I'm taking this bum out of the headlines. I'm rubbing him out.
Hey, Tracy, watch out!
Dick Tracy to me. I say we kill Tracy now.
You challenge me, we all go down!
Are you gonna arrest me?
I want to know who killed Lips Manless.
Not the bad, big boy, not the bad!
I know, and I'm gonna miss you. But all's fair in love and business. Whose side are you on?
Side I'm always on. Mine.
What? What's the word out? Lips territory is my territory now. Everything he owns, I own.
Move in and take your positions. Okay, boys, let's go. And you, guilty of attempting to bribe an officer of the law.
She does some nifty undercover work. That Dick Tracy drives you crazy, doesn't he?
All right, that's enough. I want Tracy dead!
Tracy, let's go! Good luck.
You have just said goodbye to oxygen.
Aren't you gonna frisk me?
Stupid cop.
Tracy?
Warren Beatty is Dick Tracy.
Dick!
I thought that was Thoreau for a second. The voiceover.
Doing the voiceover. Yeah, the only voiceover we got there. Dick Tracy. It was released June 15th, 1990. It had a running time of 105 minutes. It cost $46 million and it made $162 million. It hit. They made its money back and some extra there. It was a year after Batman, and you can really tell.
I was gonna say, or Beatty, like, do that. Danny Elfman, do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, but I haven't seen this in years and years, and I always thought it was like, cheesy. Like in my memory, it was it was like a bad, cheesy, serious attempt to do another Batman. But watching this, I think this is like half a parody almost. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know that there were music cues that reminded me, and but when he jumps through the skylight, obviously he's not wearing a cape, but he has his big yellow trench coat, and the shot is almost identical to Batman's entrance in the museum.
Yeah.
After the Joker's dance, so it was just a little like, wow, that's.
No, well, and they got Danny Elfman. I mean, the studio was definitely like, hey guys, let's do that. But
he had a lot of the same kind of like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Like
the beats are the same musically in this.
Yeah, very. I mean, because again, literally, it's Danny Elfman scoring it a year after scoring.
Yeah,
Batman.
we've pointed that out before.
This just had Madonna instead of Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, and Stephen Sondheim.
Right.
Madonna.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
But there have been times where we've pointed out that it seemed like Danny Elfman was just making a check. He's like,
this might be
like,
the
here's
earliest.
what I did on Pee-wee is good enough for this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Dick Tracy, like I said, it was released June 15th, 1990. And fellas, I think that means we should play the box office top 10 game.
No.
All right. Let's just go to the ranking.
This is the game where I'm going to describe the top 10 movies of the week of June 15th, 1990. And the fellas are going to try to guess what movie I am describing.
This was prime movie-going time in my life.
It was. So I want to point out, we've actually done this exact week before, but it's been a while. And I'm not going to tell you which episode we did it on. So I think this is all going to be a new. This will be new to you. Anyways, it'll be a previously owned box office top 10. Previously loved. All right. At number 10 for the week of June 15th, 1990, 4 teenagers emerge from the shadows to protect New York City.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, indeed.
2? No?
Nope, 1. The first.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Kicking the 90s off.
Yeah, they are. That is, yeah. In its 7th week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has made $124 million already, so that was a hit.
Heroes in a half shell.
They were on a mission.
Turtle power.
At number 9 this week, Joey gets 2 days to sell 12 cars to keep his job and keep his girlfriends happy. It gets worse. He's juggling 3 buyers when a guy with a machine gun crashes into the car dealership and takes everybody hostage.
It's too late for used cars.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, this is definitely one I saw. It was let's see, it's the tagline is a comedy about the near death of a salesman.
Dude.
Oh.
If I tell you the stars, one of y'all is definitely going to get it.
Cadillac Man?
Cadillac Man. Yeah, you got it, Josh. Robin Williams and Tim Robbins.
That's it.
Yep. Cadillac Man.
Never saw that one.
It was...
I saw it at the time. I haven't.
Yeah, I saw it in like 1990. I couldn't tell you how it actually... what it's actually like. 14-year-old me was like, eh.
Yeah, I was surprised by your
Sounds
synopsis. I was like, what? Especially at the end, guy has a machine gun.
Well, and the guy is Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
So, at number 8 this week, The Adventures of a Young Cat and Dog as they find themselves accidentally separated and each swept into a hazardous trek.
Otis and Milo?
Milo
and Otis.
The Adventures of Milo. One of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the tagline is Milo is one lucky cat. He's got 9 lives and a best friend. And
They are best friends.
His best friend's a pug.
Yeah. They really love each other.
They do. Those guys.
Dudley Moore narrates the whole thing and does different voices for different animals.
Who were the animal
Dudley
voices?
Moore.
No, I know Dudley Moore, but who were the animal voices? Or did they have animal voices?
No, it was him.
Oh, that's right. It's
He just did the like, I'm a pug, and I'm a cat. There was a toad at one point.
At number 7 this week, an old flame discovers her ex-boyfriend from the past is a relocated FBI informant out to stop the bad guys.
Oh, Married to the Mob?
No. This one is a much more like a wacky
Really?
kind of adventure-y. It's wow. The poster's crazy because it just it has the title in small font down at the bottom, and on top it just has the name of the stars, but just their first name, like blank and blank, and then down at the bottom is the title of the film. If I tell you the name of the star, someone is absolutely going to get it. The tagline is, "He's every woman's dream and one woman's nightmare." And I'll tell you the stars. Up on top, big font, taking up a full 1/8 of the page. Mel and Goldie.
Overboard?
No, that was Kurt.
No, that had no FBI agent.
That was Kurt Russell.
And that was Kurt Russell too.
Mel and Goldie.
Mel and Goldie.
It's wacky-ish, you said?
It's a wacky like adventure like
Screwball
like
comedy.
Yes, exactly. It's like road school. Yeah, exactly. It's trying to do the like Romancing the Stone kind of thing, but a little more crime oriented.
Oh, Bird on a Wire?
Bird on a Wire.
Oh.
Yeah.
1990.
Yeah. No.
Brian's laughing at us.
Hey, I never would have got that.
It's definitely one that is lost to time. No one talks about Bird on a Wire anymore. It was a big summer release. At number 6 this week, a man in a legal but hurtful business needs an escort for some social events.
Pretty Woman?
Yeah. I didn't even, yeah. A legal but hurtful business.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
Huge.
It's in its 5th week and it's made $140 million already. Pretty Woman was a humongous hit.
Yep. We all believed Julia Roberts was a prostitute.
Yeah. At number 5 this week. Oh, okay. There's no way to describe this movie without giving away exactly what it is.
Can you give one word at what you're reading?
One word? One word
that's
from, okay. Well, there's one word that will 100% give it away.
Shit.
I'll give you.
Never mind. I was just, yeah.
Wait. I'm going to give you one word from each sentence. Stranded, fuel, west. I'll give you that last one. I'll give you a compound word. Old West.
Bible.
Stranded, fuel, Old West.
Back to the Future 3.
Yeah, Back to the
right.
Future Part 3.
Yes.
Stranded in 1955, Marty McFly learns about the death of Doc Brown in 1885 and must travel back in time to save him. With no fuel readily available for the DeLorean, the two must figure out how to escape the Old West before Emmett is murdered.
And they finally figured out how to make a time travel movie that was about time travel. Not just your parents.
And they figured out ice cubes.
Yeah.
It's true. Refrigeration.
Opening at number 4 this week. Some troublemakers are back. And this time they've taken control of a New York City skyscraper.
Gremlins 2.
Yes, indeed. The new
yes.
batch.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we did this week before.
It's in the movie.
Gremlins 2, The New Batch. At number 3 this week. Okay. A man may or may not have gone on vacation.
Weekend at Bernie's.
And it's the future. Plus, there is more than the average number of boobs on women.
Oh, Total Recall.
Yes, Total Recall.
Quantum.
I totally
Leap.
recall that movie.
I love the fact that the boobs is what gave it away.
Yeah, 3 boobs.
Well,
First
the
time we'd
vacation
ever seen,
thing
dude.
totally makes sense now.
Yeah. Did he?
Did he go on vacation? It's hard to say.
Like, does it even matter by the end of the movie? Because we saw a third boob.
Yep.
Oh, I'm just going to read this whole thing because nobody remembers the names of these characters. Jack Cates once again enlists the aid of ex-con Reggie Hammond, this time to take down the Iceman, a ruthless drug lord operating in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh.
This is a movie that is a PG sequel to an R-rated hit. This was supposed to be R-rated, but they decided to cut it down to a PG, and it sucks.
Another 48 hours?
Another 48 hours. First 48 hours so good. This one's so bad.
Yeah, isn't there a Mr. Joshua? It's Gary BC. Is that the second one or the first one?
Isn't he Mr. Joshua in Lethal Weapon?
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
believe you're right.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm mixing up my buddy cop movies.
Mixing up your Buseys.
I never mix up the abuse.
Wasn't there like a Rutger
That's how you
Hauer
get sick.
villain in 48 Hours? Or in another 48 Hours? He wasn't Rutger Hauer, but
There
it
was somebody
like
called
him.
the Iceman.
Maybe. Was Rutger Hauer the Iceman?
Possibly.
There's no way to tell.
There's no way to tell.
There's no way
It's like
we'll ever-
RoboCop.
Yeah.
We don't know who played him. There's really no way to tell.
And opening at number 1. The comic strip detective finds his life vastly complicated when Breathless Mahoney makes advances towards him while he's trying to battle Big Boy Caprice's mob.
Is his life complicated?
Calvin
I
and
beg to
Hobbes.
differ.
It seems extremely
Calvin and
uncomplicated for
Hobbes.
the most part. Yeah.
Very uncomplicated, just repetitive.
Marmaduke.
Gracer Bullet.
That is the box office top 10 for the week of June 15th,
That was fun.
1990, which brings us to our character background. Al,
I'm here.
tell us about Dick.
I don't know, Dick. Dick Tracy was created by writer and artist Chester Gould. Based on U.S. federal agent Elliot Ness, Gould drafted an idea for a detective named Plainclothes Tracy. Gould sent his idea to Joseph Medal Patterson at the Chicago Tribune New York News Syndicate.
What a lame nickname to get.
Plainclothes.
Plainclothes?
Scraping the bottom of the barrel.
What a lame first name to get.
Fair enough.
Potentially. So he sent it to his buddy Joseph Patterson at the Chicago Tribune New York News Syndicate. So long, such a long title. Who suggested a name change to Dick Tracy. Dick being another name for detective.
Dick being another name for penis.
Now everyone can enjoy it.
Was it? Was it that long ago? I wonder. As well, Joseph Patterson suggested an opening story wherein Tracy joins the police after his girlfriend's father is murdered by robbers.
Okay.
Wow. Finally, a reasonable reaction to someone being.
My parents were murdered, so
I'm going to dress up like a bat. I'm going to join the police force. Okay, cool.
Chester Gould agreed to the changes, and
Chester
Dick Tracy made its debut Sunday, October 4th, 1931 in the Detroit Mirror.
Chester
and was-
Gould sounds like like the name of one of the Dick Tracy characters.
Or 70s actor.
And the strip was distributed by the Chicago Tribune New York News Syndicate.
So I'm wondering if Siskel and Ebert were capable of doing a review of this with their journalistic
backgrounds.
Yeah, since they worked. Which one was one of them worked for the Tribune? I can never remember which one. One of them was the Sun Times.
Right.
The strip was instantly popular, appearing in papers across the United States. A 1937 Fortune magazine poll rated Dick Tracy's third favorite comic strip after Little Orphan Annie and Popeye.
Huh.
Dick Tracy was attacked by some journalists. Not the cat. Well,
Dick Tracy was attacked.
Dick Tracy was attacked.
This just in.
By some journalists as being too violent. The criticism that would dog Gould throughout his time at the strip.
Stop.
No,
I was doing it like a telegram. I wasn't telling you.
Right. Chester Gould wrote and drew the strip up until 1977. That's a 46-year run.
Jesus.
Let's see. Dick Tracy is a tough and intelligent police detective, usually depicted as going up against small-time crime operators. However, the character of Alphonse Big Boy Caprice, based on Al Capone, appeared in the second Sunday strip of Dick Tracy, October 11th, 1931, and the daily strips that would follow. Subsequently, Big Boy would be Dick Tracy's most frequently recurring villain and a sort of gray eminence behind all of the criminal activity thwarted by Dick Tracy.
He also made a mean burger.
Big boys.
Boy.
On January 13th, 1946, the strip introduced Dick Tracy's two-way wrist radio, inspiration for Martin Cooper's invention of the mobile phone and probably today's smartwatches.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy to thank.
We have Dick Tracy to thank.
For all of
Most
this.
likely. It's
Wow.
unconfirmed.
It was like the Jetsons video phone, where we another thing where we're like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I want
They'll
the
never
yellow.
do that.
I want the yellow trench coat, and I'll take the flying car from the Jetsons. Keep the phone.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy.
These loud clothes, Tracy.
Loud.
Dick Tracy thwarted more mob criminality in the 50s. In the 60s, Diet Smith Industries invented a magnetic propulsion spacecraft called the Space Coupe. This launched Dick Tracy's space period, when Tracy and friends had frequent adventures to the moon.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
I had
Big
This
break.
movie needs a fucking sequel. Stat.
set on the moon.
Dick in space.
Well,
Space Dick.
In the 70s, Tracy grew out his hair and sported a mustache.
What? No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Shortly before Chester Gould's retirement in 1977, he had Tracy's friends hold him down to shave off his mustache.
He's like, keep on dicking.
The strip continued with several artists and writers after Gould retired, and
Wait,
is still running to this day.
They held him down to shave his mustache. Was that
Yeah.
necessary? Was he like,
That's long
no,
hair.
I must keep my mustache. It's the
I
source
didn't
of my
read that
virility.
particular strip.
But they
He
listed
was-
the detail that he was held down so they could shave it. Usually
Right,
a man
yeah.
shaves his own mustache or pays another man.
It's in our
Shave his mustache.
Constitution.
If
A
more
man
than
shaves his
if
own
more than
mustache.
2 men are involved in the shaving of a man's mustache, something has gone
Could be a hate
terribly
crime.
wrong.
oh, I just Googled it, and it's not exactly looking like a hippie. I mean, he's still Dick Tracy.
He's a narc. That's why he grew it out, so he go to college campuses.
In it or something? Like, does he need to be shaved because it's a health hazard?
Yeah, I don't know. He
is there chili in his beard?
he mostly kind of just looks like Sam. What's his face? Sam.
Yosemite Sam?
No.
Yeah,
from Roadhouse.
Yeah,
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott. He looks like Sam Elliott. It's very distinguished.
Oh, that's probably why they held him down.
He's like, I'm Richard Tracy now.
Also at that time, he had a hippie sidekick, Groovy Grove. He was one of the ones to hold Tracy down. Like the hippies saying, no, you got to shave that.
What a traitor.
There's got to be some good content of him and hippie. What's his name? Grove?
Groovy Grove.
Groovy Grove, like kicking joints out of hippies' hands and stuff.
I wish that's how they fought the war on drugs. Like person by person.
Just run up and punch the drugs away from them.
Smack it out of their head. No, I like kick it, like Brian said. Just a roundhouse kick a joint out of someone.
Karate kicking them, like.
I'm interested to know if there were like 60s goofy villains that reflected the time.
Oh,
you know what I'm trying to say? There's Flathead, Prune Face, all those. It was known for the weirdo characters. I wonder if there was like. Never mind.
Like Andy War Machine or something.
Yes. Exactly.
I remember reading Dick Tracy in the newspaper when I was a kid.
I remember
it was a tough one because it was, a 3-panel story that went nowhere. Yeah, but that's where I learned. That's where I learned what payola was.
Interesting. He was investigating that.
Wait, it was somebody getting their songs on the radio in Dick Tracy
in the 80s. Yeah,
I'm taking down Alan Freed.
Yeah, there wasn't many people involved.
They killed a radio DJ.
Was it Video? Did Video do that,
Al? I think they made his pacemaker stop with some sort of device. And so maybe that's where I learned what a pacemaker was too.
Theremin.
Yeah. Like Josh,
anyway.
I remember seeing Dick Tracy in the comics.
I would always look.
And
especially Sunday in Color. But
I didn't
read it.
Yeah, but now it's on to Kathy. What's
she's all
as I mentioned, the strip continues to this day. Other Dick Tracy characters that show up in the comics, film, television, live action, and animated include Breathless Mahoney, The Blank, Tess Trueheart, his girlfriend, Sam Ketchum, Pat Patton. Those two were early partners of Dick Tracy. Junior, a.k.a. The Kid, Mumbles, Prune Face, Flat Top, Itchy, Not Scratchy, The Mole, and Shaky. Most of these names require no further exposition.
I'm pretty sure most of these people were in a frat with the Supreme Court Justice.
Donkey Doug.
Keg stand.
And, of course, my apologies to the fictional characters I may have neglected to mention.
No 88
like
keys?
Littleface.
I didn't see mention of 88 Keys outside of this movie. Doesn't mean he didn't exist.
It's a great name, though.
88
It is.
Yeah, it's a hip-hop producer who I am 100% sure got it from this movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Al, for that character background. That brings us to the production of the film. So Warren Beatty started trying to make this movie in 1975.
No shit.
Yes. At that time,
He's a big fan, right? He himself. He's
Yes.
like, he's
Oh,
read
and
this-
that was just before Gould retired. So the original writer and artist was still producing.
yeah. No,
I don't know if you're going to get to this, but I read a thing that Warren Beatty said this is how he learned to read. Was Dick Tracy.
yeah, it was his childhood thing. He grew up
Yeah.
reading Dick Tracy and the comic strips, and that's it was his thing. So he started pitching it all over town.
So his first words were, "You dirty copper."
Yeah. He was pitching it, but he didn't own the rights. But it was owned by, let's see, the film rights were passed around town for years. At one point, Tom Mankiewicz was who wrote Superman and some James Bond movies, and had a writing credit. I believe, was it on Popeye? Was that where we talked about him recently? It was on. Where did we talk about him recently? Huh. I don't know. We spoke about him recently. I don't know what it was on. I thought it was Popeye, but apparently not. But he wrote Superman 2. Mankiewicz was brought on to write a script. But that deal fell through because Chester Gould, who Al just told us all about, insisted that he have complete artistic control over the film script.
I love that.
So it went to Paramount.
So was that Mankiewicz? Is he the son of, what's his name, Herman Mankiewicz? Wrote Citizen Kane.
No, his dad was Joseph Mankiewicz, who was
not related to the other guy.
who wrote All About Eve.
All right.
And the
It's a great
Philadelphia
movie.
Story. He was a producer. I'm sorry, he was a producer. He wrote All About Eve, produced the Philadelphia Story, but Tom Mankiewicz.
Okay, just curious.
Isn't there a chili company called Mankiewicz? Any relation?
I don't know. I'm not. You'll have to listen to our Mankiewicz podcast to find out about that.
Is it introspective?
Is
Chili?
that the famous Cincinnati chili?
Oh, no, we don't talk about Cincinnati chili.
Oh, yeah.
We don't.
Just like we don't talk about North Carolina barbecue. Mustard?
Yeah, or
Mustard?
Tex-Mex.
New York
Sorry.
salsa.
Yeah. In the early 1980s, it went to Paramount, who tried to get Spielberg to direct a version of it.
I can just imagine him being like, I don't care for that. Like,
I mean, with Indiana Jones, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it just wouldn't be. Yeah.
By 1990, it made sense just to try to get Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah,
It
absolutely.
didn't matter if he was. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. After Spielberg passed, they got John Landis on board, and it was supposed to star Clint Eastwood in the title role. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, the dryness would not have, I don't think, translated as well.
Yeah, no.
Well, we're supposed to buy Dirty Harry has turned it down a notch.
Yeah. Yeah, so then in 1985, Beatty finally got his hands on the rights and started shopping it around himself.
I heard that You're So Vain was written about Dick Tracy.
You're So Vain and Hanky Panky were both written.
Yeah.
He bought the rights himself. He owns singularly the
Yes.
rights to Dick Tracy.
And we'll talk about that in a minute
Okay.
because that goes some places. Yes, but he got the rights in 1985 himself. Just before he got it, it was being shopped around. Some names being tossed around to play Dick Tracy were Harrison Ford, Richard Gere, Tom Selleck, and Mel Gibson. But Beatty got the rights in 85. and started.
Tom Selleck would have made a good mustachioed Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's true.
From the 70s.
Yeah.
Ruby Grove. Played
Then
by
they'd have
Cheech
to-
Marin.
They'd have to hold him down. Shit was mustache.
Hold him down.
So in mid late 80s, he suggested himself to direct it, and brought that to Disney, and Disney said, "All right, let's do it." They greenlit it in 1988 under the condition that Beatty keep the production budget within $25 million. Beatty himself received $7 million and 15% of the gross. 15%. So he got $7 million and 15% of 162, which is what? That's an additional $24 million. So he made $30 million off Dick Tracy, all said and done.
90s money.
Yeah, in
90 money.
in 1990. Yeah.
Well, and he won an Oscar before this, right, for directing?
Did he get a directing Oscar?
The Reb? No?
I know he has an Oscar. I'm not sure what it was for.
I think that the movie that came in shortly after this, Bulworth, got some
he
recognition.
I forgot about Bulworth, too.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
This is a weird stretch of time for this man.
Yeah.
But,
Oh
like,
God, Bulworth. That
he
was
didn't
crazy.
He didn't direct Shampoo. He didn't direct Heaven Can Wait.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Most famous.
Those. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Beatty. I guess let's go ahead and talk about Beatty. This was directed by Warren Beatty. Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty. I have a piece of trivia for you. Do you know who Warren Beatty's sister is?
Nope.
Shirley MacLaine.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the room fell silent.
Yeah, absolutely true. Let's see. He as far as I'm trying to see what he actually won Academy Awards for. Warren Beatty, of course, he is got his start in the 60s as an actor. His first big credit was in Splendor in the Grass in 1961. He very quickly became a producer. He was a producer on Bonnie and Clyde, Shampoo. He did direct Heaven Can Wait, and he did. He did, I believe, win. Let's see. He won.
He won the Oscar for Best Director, 1982 Reds.
That's the one.
Reds.
Okay. I knew it was one of these. Yeah. So Heaven Can Wait. He did get nominated for Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actor.
Best Dressed.
Yeah. But Shampoo, Ishtar.
Oh man.
He made Ishtar right before this with Dustin Hoffman.
Uh-huh.
I feel like Ishtar gets a bad rap. I don't think it's as bad as its legacy.
I agree, and I think Elaine May got a raw deal because she's one of the funniest people that ever lived.
Absolutely. Yes, Elaine May is amazing, and all of Nichols and May's stuff is
all
awesome.
their albums.
Yeah,
they basically perfected, if not invented, modern improv.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hate them for that or love them for that.
But Warren Beatty. I mean, he was a sex symbol. I watched Dick Tracy with Jude, and I told him a little bit about Warren Beatty. Showed him pictures of Shampoo, If you've never seen Shampoo or seen Warren Beatty in Shampoo, just Google pictures of Warren Beatty in Shampoo. It is breathtaking in the
it's a good movie.
70s.
I was going to ask if you watched it with Jude. I watched it with Ella.
Oh, what did Ella think?
interesting.
I'm curious about that.
She liked it. She loved all the matte painting work and the color palette and all that. She had no real idea who Dick Tracy was naturally.
Yeah.
And so she just looked at it as any movie. And she thought it was creative and imaginative.
Same with Jude. He said it's kind of a masterpiece.
Yeah.
That he seems to say that about anything that's like before he was born that is actually good though. So.
Oh man, I wish I could discover pop culture again.
I know.
The one review, maybe it was a fan review that I saw, simply said gorgeous.
It is. It's a beautiful looking film.
Yeah.
We don't usually, but let's go ahead and mention that it was cinematography by Vittorio Serrano, who also did The Last Emperor, Last Tango in Paris, One from the Heart, yeesh, Apocalypse Now. He did Reds with Warren Beatty before, and let's see, the art direction was, production designer was Richard Silbert, who came up with the whole primary color palette of it. Richard Silbert actually was a production designer on Splendor in the Grass, the first movie that Warren Beatty was in. But he has a ton of credits going all the way back. He did The Graduate, Catch-22, Carnal Knowledge, Chinatown, Shampoo. He worked with Warren Beatty a lot. The Reds. He went on.
Mike Nichols, it sounds like.
Yeah, Mike Nichols and Warren Beatty. He did Bonfire of the Vanities, Carlito's Way, Mulholland Falls. Oh, not Mulholland Drive. Okay. Mulholland Falls.
Different. I think that's
Okay. I think that's Nolte. Yeah. So gorgeous looking film. Warren Beatty hired on Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. to write this. They were a writing team. Top Gun, Secret of My Success, Turner and Hooch.
Somebody had to.
The Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas. Okay, this is a real uneven writing.
Yeah. Call me.
Yeah. Our cast. Warren Beatty, of course, played Dick Tracy. Al Pacino as Big Boy. And like we were talking about before, this is kind of the movie that flipped the switch in his head and turned him into Dunkachino.
Yeah.
Because before this, it was all like, you broke my heart, Fredo.
Yeah.
I mean,
or let's see, Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah. He acted. It seems.
Say hello to my little friend.
I mean,
yeah, Scarface.
Even Scarface, he was kind of just acting, except for the big moments. But it seems like in this movie and every movie afterwards, he is just like, hooah!
Yeah, Sense of a Woman was kind of in between, and he deserved all the, credit he got for that movie. But then, it just, he went full on.
It's like
all the way up to Jack and Jill.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have to act anymore. I just have to be Pacino.
That's it, sir.
Those are great.
He was
you guys.
great in the what was that? House of Gucci. He was really good at that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was a small role.
Oh yeah,
very Pacino-y.
Yeah, very. He did this. Let's see. He did this immediately after Glengarry Glen Ross.
It is wet out there.
And immediately after this, he did Carlito's Way. Fucking Pacino, man. That dude's filmography. All the way up until he started doing things like Jack and Jill. I don't know. Pacino, man. But he was doing this right. He was filming this right as Nicholson was in the zeitgeist for being the Joker. I have to think that was an influence on how he approached this role.
Yeah.
Like
Probably.
I gotta go bigger. I gotta go crazier. I've got to out Jack. Madonna starred as Breathless Mahoney. So this, okay, let's talk about Madonna and the soundtrack for a few minutes here. The music, was released on 2 separate albums, the Dick Tracy soundtrack and Madonna's I'm Breathless. See, it's a fun because she plays breathless and also she's out of breath.
Double meaning.
So I'm Breathless was a #1 album. They stuck Vogue on it for some reason.
Because it's an awesome song.
It's an awesome song, but it has nothing to do with the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. In addition to Vogue, Hanky Panky was released as a single, which is a crazy ass song. It's crazy that in 1990, a 30s cabaret style song was charting. Pretty much
ahead of its time.
Yeah, pretty much most of the songs she sang were on that album. Vogue was kind of the only non-movie song that got stuck on there. Sooner or Later also, which was written by Stephen Sondheim. Stephen Sondheim, of course, wrote the songs with Madonna. They wrote several of the songs together. She also wrote some with Patrick Leonard. Worked with Madonna a lot. He was a writer with her. He did a bunch of Like a Prayer, Who's That Girl, True Blue, her writing partner. So yeah, Madonna's acting career prior to this, and was Desperately Seeking Susan, which is a movie I would actually kind of love to do on the show one day.
Yeah.
I was thinking of us doing a rock stars movies as a miniseries at some point. There's a few that would be amazing. Of course, Purple Rain.
I'm not joking, but like How High?
Yeah,
Method
totally.
Man, Red Man, and directed by Bob Dylan's son.
How High?
Jesse.
Absolutely. Give my regards to Broad Street would be an amazing one to do. Have any of you seen Give My Regards to Broad Street?
Broad Street? No, I guess not.
Starring Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. Paul McCartney plays Paul McCartney trying to solve a mystery.
What?
I remember
and
that.
they re-recorded a ton of Beatles songs for it. It's the movie where No More Lonely Nights comes from, Paul's 80s hit.
Yeah, was it Give My Regards to Broad Street or Broadway?
Broad Street.
Oh.
Give my regards to Broad Street.
Okay.
So anyways, Madonna had some iffy acting credits after Desperately Seeking Susan. Oh God, Shanghai Surprise. That was a terrible movie. Who's That Girl was those were kind of like there was a point where like we were like, if a rock star is a big enough rock star, let's just see if they can maybe also be a movie star. Let's just try that out and see what happens.
She wasn't the first, but she was the first that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know, crossing over.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Christopherson.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. But
this movie
Elvis. I guess Elvis made a movie or two.
Yeah, I guess he did, didn't he? her Truth or Dare was being filmed while this was being filmed when she was dating Warren Beatty. And Truth or Dare came out the year after this. This was kind of the Madonna's sex book. This was that period where Madonna was like kind of peak Madonna.
Salacious.
Yeah, she. I remember Justify My Love. That was a humongous thing when she went on Saturday Night Live, and Wayne and Garth did Justify My Love.
Yeah, I love that. Like a Prayer, that video made conservatives angry.
Yeah, that pissed people off a lot. That was a few years before this. This was, and Vogue came out right after I'm Breathless. This was kind of like peak Madonna. A League of Their Own came out right after this also. This was kind of Madonna never got bigger. In addition to Madonna, we have Glenn Headley as Tess Trueheart. She was the lady from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which is the only other thing I recognize her from.
She did a lot of work in the 80s, especially.
Yeah, she did. Let's see.
One of the most interesting names in Hollywood, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Glenn Headley.
Hey, Glenn.
She's married to. She was married to John Malkovich in the 80s. Huh. Yeah, she was also, let's see, in Mr. Holland's Opus. She's starred in Future Man, which was a Hulu series produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Oh, she passed away in 2017.
Oh.
Yeah.
Know that.
She was pretty young. Wow. Yeah, she was young. Let's see. Charlie Korsmo as the kid.
What About Bob? I remember him from What About Bob?
What About Bob and Hook.
Hook.
Hook,
Yeah, he's the
of
son of
course.
Hook.
Yeah. And he was one of those kid actors from that era, along with Macaulay Culkin, of course, and what's his face from Terminator 2?
Eddie Furlong.
Eddie Furlong. He was like in that kind of wheelhouse of like late 80s, early 90s kid actors. I forgot he was in Can't Hardly Wait.
Yep.
That is a really good fucking teen movie.
It is. It's My Fair Lady, but no, it's not. That's She's All That.
Yeah, that's She's All That.
My bad.
Yeah. But yeah, Can't Hardly Wait is pretty fucking good. Yeah, Charlie Korsmo. Wow. His filmography is short. After Dick Tracy, he did Heat Wave. What About Bob? This was only his second film. His first one was called Men Don't Leave. Then he did this one, Heat Wave. What About Bob? The Doctor. Then he did Hook. Then Can't Hardly Wait. There was 7 years in between Hook and Can't Hardly Wait. And then he wasn't in a movie again until 2019 when he did something called Chained for Life.
Wow.
So, yeah. He left the biz. Let's see.
He could have retired after this movie.
Yeah. Kathy Bates played the stenographer.
Uh-huh.
This is I'm just going to kind of run through a lot of the cameos and like
do that.
Because we don't need to go into everybody, but we had Kathy Bates as the stenographer, Dick Van Dyke as the district attorney. Dick Van Dyke, 99 years old as of the recording of this podcast. 99 years old, just took a recurring role on is it Days of Our Lives?
Yes.
Yeah. Just this week, took a recurring role at 99 years old on Days of Our Lives. What is this man doing?
Oh, and this year he had a car crash.
Yeah.
Chitty chitty bang bang, if you would.
Oh, God. Frank Campanella was Judge Harper. Dustin Hoffman as Mumbles. Which I love the fact that his entire role was just a setup for the punchline of him speaking very clearly and straightforwardly in regular Dustin Hoffman voice. William Forsythe played Flat Top.
Okay, he steals the show, if you ask me.
Yeah. He, of course, was in Raising Arizona, The Rock, Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, he was a sheriff.
Yeah. Edo Ross as Itchy. He was also, let's see, Universal Soldier, Full Metal Jacket. I recognize the dude, but yeah, he's one of those guys. Mandy Patinkin played 88 Keys. Mandy Patinkin, of course, probably best known for Princess Bride, I feel like at this point.
Yeah, and then he's been on a detective show, right? Like a CSI type thing.
Yeah, he has been for a while, hasn't he?
Time.
He was good in Homeland too.
I think he's good whenever he pops up.
Yeah, I like Mandy Patinkin in general.
There was a show, Dead Like Me, where he was a Reaper.
Oh, yeah, that was a good show.
That was a fun
I
show.
forgot about that one.
He was also in the Mr. Show movie, Run, Ronnie, Run. He was pretty good in that.
That was, oh, God, yeah. R.G. Armstrong as Prune Face. He was like a old character actor from like the 40s and 50s. He, oh my God, born in 1917. He had no makeup. He wore no makeup in this film. He predates Dick Tracy.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's like, Dick Tracy, you mean that thing the kids are into?
Montgomery Burns over here.
Yeah.
Henry
Holy.
Silva played Influence. Paul Servino played Lips Manless. Let's see. Chuck Hicks is the Brow. James Caan played Spud Spaldoni. James Caan with 35 fabulous seconds of screen time.
And then to have his brother Michael Corleone.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my God. I forgot about that.
He blew him up in the car. I know he was shot in the car in Godfather, but, you know.
Catherine O'Hara.
I totally missed Catherine O'Hara.
She doesn't have a line. She's sitting at and again, the Godfather, but like sitting at the evil board meeting. That has to always happen. Evil board meetings.
Yeah, her character's name was Texie Garcia. Oh, wow. Yeah, so there's a lot of cameos in here. Charles Fleischer, Roger Rabbit, was a reporter. Mike Mazurki, who was
Did you jump over James Tolkien as Numbers?
Oh, I did. Yes, James Tolkien.
Probably best known from the Back to the Future trilogy.
Yeah, as Strickland.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy, the bald guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That was grim.
John Shuck, John Machida Jr. is he was the Micro Machine guy.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
That's Talker.
He was a reporter also, no, he was the radio announcer, I'm sorry. Colm Meaney, best known as Chief O'Brien, was a police officer.
And The Commitments. Oh, man, he's so good in that.
Did you know The Commitments is the first in a trilogy? They made 2 sequels to that movie. None of them have to do with the band. They're the peripheral characters,
right.
including Colm Meaney, are the stars. But there's 2 sequels to The Commitments. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I only found out like a year ago. Yeah, so Dick Tracy, like we said.
There's 2 I want to mention. There's Michael J. Pollard and there's Estelle Parsons, who both of them were in Bonnie and Clyde. But she plays somebody's mom, I think Glenn Headley's mom. And then Michael J. Pollard, we know him. He's the real little guy he was in Scrooged and things like that. In this, he's the guy that's bugging.
He's Bugs Bailey or Bug Bailey.
Yes.
He got a lot of work when we were growing up. But anyways, both in Bonnie and Clyde, Warren Beatty's movie.
Yeah. Well, and Charles Durning. I'm
sorry.
Oh,
Charles Durning. That's
Charles
right.
Durning. Yeah, he was. Also...
Seymour Cassell as Sam Ketchum.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, like I said, Warren Beatty owned the rights to this. After this film was made, it was a big hit. They started talking about a sequel right away. He said he had an idea for one, but really nothing came of it for a very long time.
They should have done the space period.
They really should have.
Yeah, that's wild. That's like Moonraker wild.
Yeah. In 2002, Tribune Media Services, which owns the Chicago Tribune Syndicate, tried to get the rights back. They attempted to reclaim the rights, but they did not go about it through the process that was outlined in the 1985 agreement in which he purchased the rights from them. So they went to court and stayed in court off and on for 6 years, at which point Warren Beatty shot a special with Leonard Maltin called the Dick Tracy Special, in which Leonard Maltin interviewed Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy in order for Warren Beatty to keep the rights, because Dick Tracy needed to appear on screen in some way for Warren Beatty to keep the rights.
Wild.
And then in February 2023, this year, he appeared in the Dick Tracy special sequel, Dick Tracy Zooms In, which we are about to see a portion of right now.
Good to see you, Detective Tracy. It's been a while. It has indeed, yes.
So what can I do for you?
Good question.
It's nice to see that yellow hat and coat.
I still don't take off my hat and coat. Nowadays, you just never know when somebody's going to put you on television.
Sure, I understand your concern. Just so you know, I would never put you on TV without your approval.
Well, thank you. I tip it to you. My hat, that is. Yeah.
People spoke highly about the interview we did. They found it to be quite unusual.
You're a deservedly popular interviewer, however, I think I could have been better.
Better?
Well, clearer. I kind of think I should have been more frank, but I wasn't really used to doing television interviews. But I do have to tell you, I've come a long way since then. I mean, if I want to ever do another interview, I would use film clips that will show what I really feel rather than just talk about it. We're all technocrats now. Look at us. We're on Zoom. We're on Zoom all the time. I used to think that the high point of technology would be my wristwatch radio.
Later in this same interview, they interview Warren Beatty as Warren Beatty, and then Warren Beatty and Dick Tracy have a conversation.
Yes, we haven't spoken in a while. Detective Tracy, how are you? I'm fine, Mr. Beatty. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Long time no see. Or here. Yeah, I guess if you don't show, you don't hear. Show? Show up. You never showed up at the Polo Lounge. The Polo Lounge? What are you talking about? I called. I called the Polo Lounge. Are you telling me the Polo Lounge didn't tell you that I called and said I couldn't make it? Let's not talk about it, huh?
This is
what the
almost 30. This is 25 minutes long.
Somebody needs to come and get him. Who did this? Did he do this for himself?
Guy in the bottom left who is the Mankiewicz I thought we were talking about earlier, by the way. But do you notice how confused they look?
Yes.
When they start talking about the Polo Lounge, they look at each other like, why are we talking about it's at a Beverly Hills hotel? I can't remember, but yeah.
Like they had a standing appointment. What the is happening?
Yeah, then they're sort of arguing, and then Dick shuts it down.
Okay, so
it was too real. It's like the uncanny valley of improv. Like,
yeah, it just feels
it had to be scripted because he was talking to himself. He had to record that
part. Yeah. I feel like maybe Leonard Maltin and the other dude were sort of riffing on their questions, but yes.
Was that a direct to home video?
That was a direct
Fantastic Four kind of thing.
Yes,
like to retain the rights.
That was to retain the rights.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why in February 2023 that happened. It was so that Warren Beatty will not lose the rights to Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy,
like he lost his glasses.
Talking to Warren Beatty is the thing that they admit into court to say, no, Your Honor, he's clearly playing a fictional character. Here he is speaking to the real Warren Beatty.
Yes.
How come when Warren Beatty's in the room, Dick Tracy's never in the room?
And they just posted it on YouTube and said, this is good enough.
Like, suck it, Paramount.
Oh my God. Yeah. That came out 2 months ago.
So the ends justify the means here, because that whole thing was difficult to watch. But knowing now that he was doing it to like anchor himself for another however many years is that?
I don't know,
20 years
20,
or something or
like
12.
That. Yeah.
Like I can forgive how terrible that whole thing was.
Well,
yeah. It's bonkers. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it's fucking weird.
You could have used a script doctor.
Yeah.
Somebody definitely could have punched that up. I don't think it was meant to be
or
entertaining.
a regular doctor.
Yeah, he wasn't looking so great.
Everybody looked confused in that video. Both versions of Warren Beatty.
Yeah, with their strange argument about the Polo Lounge.
Does it get more heated? Did they resolve this?
No, at the end, at the end, they agreed to meet at the Polo Lounge later on after the Zoom call.
That is so old school. So old school, the Polo Lounge.
Dick Tracy was, has 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was reviewed by Siskel and Ebert.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. And our first film is Warren Beatty's eagerly awaited film of Dick Tracy. And I was startled when I first saw it because this is not really, first and foremost, the story of a detective. Rather, it's a love story about a guy who happens to be a detective. Beatty plays Tracy as a contemporary man without a square jaw, not like in the comic strip, but as a workaholic caught between two women, Tess Trueheart, the dutiful good woman, and the vampish, breathless Mahoney, a nightclub singer who comes on to Tracy hard when he visits her while investigating a crime. Madonna plays Breathless. Warren Beatty as actor who plays a downsized, more contemporary Tracy, even though he's wearing period clothes, a yellow hat, and coat. The film is glorious to look at and a true invention, and individual performers, notably Pacino, are first rate. I just wish the crime story were a little tighter and that Beatty had played Tracy as more of a hero. Otherwise, it is a truly original creation.
I just want to have one point here. First of all, I don't think yellow hats and coats are period clothes. I think that period exists only in the Chester Gould comic strip that Dick Tracy is based on. Well, but apart from that, Dick Tracy in the comics and in this movie is kind of something for the others to ricochet off of. Dick Tracy, to me, was always the least interesting character in the comic strip because he was always surrounded by these weird-looking, bizarre creatures. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is the use of makeup, especially in that opening poker scene and some of the other scenes where these really weird, strange-looking people come along, like Dustin Hoffman playing Mumbles, or Big Boy Caprice, whatever his name is. The Al Pacino inside that makeup and inside that costume really steals the show. It's a fabulous fabulous performance.
It is
but
great.
what I liked most about the movie was how it creates an entirely different world for us to look at, creating a completely new and original world for their stories to take place in. Even if it was only a movie about gigantic grasshoppers, and you could see that they were only knocking over cardboard skyscrapers, that was fun for me because the whole movie was made up, and that is the special quality and the special innocence of Dick Tracy, that the sets, the costumes, the primary colors, the backdrop, the makeup, the special effects all take us into this new world that we've never seen before.
Well, it reminds me of Robert Altman's creation for the movie Popeye, where it was more physical set building that was truly spectacular and created a world. I liked, in that film, I liked Robin Williams' Popeye. Here, I didn't care for Beatty's Tracy, and I'm wondering what you think about that.
I think I know what you mean, and that the character is not real dynamic and the character is not really out there. It's almost as if Tracy is the brunt of the plot, and he's the victim of everybody that's trying to pull him this way and pull him that way. Maybe you would have preferred a Tracy who was a little more active.
Well, would you? Yes, absolutely.
The movie is exactly as it's made, and it seems to me that
they all are.
Yeah, it works fine this way for me.
I wanted a guy to take a little charge. He's insecure. He seems to be more contemporary. It seems to be more about Warren Beatty than it is about the guy in the comic
but that's
strip.
legitimate. I mean, I think maybe
it's legitimate.
that's why Warren Beatty wanted to make this movie.
I just don't think it's that interesting for that on that aspect. I still think the picture is extraordinary as a creation of film.
Okay, coming up next, Torn Apart, a love story.
Gene wants a man that'll take charge. That's what I just discovered.
I feel like I agree with them, which is not often.
Yeah. I mean, on the whole, I agree with them. Like I said, I was saying, I think off mic for the most part, I liked this more than I thought I was going to, rewatching it for the first time since I was, 14, 15.
Well, same, but I agree that Dick Tracy is the least interesting character.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Warren Beatty basically just, walks straight face through it.
I don't disagree with this being like a threesome love story thing more than the crime fighting stuff. It's just a lot of phone call, show up at a place.
Yes.
Then like getting tricked by a phone call and showing up to a place. And,
I do think that the crime itself and the detective story could have been tighter. That's a good criticism of this. That's what this needed, was more leaning in on who is this masked person?
Yeah. In fact, I guess now is as good a time as any, but he mostly was looking to get people to testify against Big Boy. Nobody was really looking at evidence per se to bring him in. So it's definitely not detective work.
Well, and that could have been explained too. No judge is gonna, blah 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 with the.
Evidence, it wasn't illogical, but he's a detective.
Yeah, it needed to be more pinned on, especially because this is a kids movie. It's totally a kids movie with lots of machine gun fights.
It was made by Disney.
Disney's
smoking.
Yeah, the smoking, whatever, but the machine gun fights. It's like a squirt gun fight, but with machine guns. There's so much gun violence in this. It's crazy.
And they showed Madonna's negligee boobs on network television.
Whatever, nudity.
It's 1990.
The gun violence in early 90s Disney is crazy.
Oh yeah,
this movie is crazy. We didn't know where we were headed, also, but it's crazy to watch this in 2023.
It really is. And no, absolutely. No, like I said, I enjoyed this film more than I thought I was going to, but it's not like a great plot. The story mechanics are not very good. It's more just watching. It's more just like the fun of the moment to moment, insanity of this film.
It's eye candy.
Yeah.
And maybe it's meant to be, sort of like a serial comic, a little truncated, but yeah.
This movie's full of bold stylistic choices, and some of them work really well and some don't work as well as others. Some of them didn't age as well with HD. Makeup is rough.
Yeah.
You can see every pixel,
Yeah. It's interesting how some of the makeup holds up, some of it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember how painted the the cityscapes did look. Like
that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Same. Ella really loved it too. It was probably the last big time they used matte paintings, before it became computer generated.
Yeah.
These were mattes, so people painted these on glass, and it's very, very impressive.
This felt like Blade Runner. This in the
creating a world,
looking and feeling large.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. No, I love the way it looked.
But it was like, ring, ring, ring. Hey, Tracy, meet me at the Polo Lounge.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it looked amazing. And then it was just all phone calls and diners. All right. So I think that about covers the production. Guys, we ready to go ahead and just jump into the movie?
When do we eat?
Right now, Al. This is Dick Tracy.
Gross.
Eat a dick.
We open with a credit sequence. Then we get a matte painting of the city. It's, I believe, 1938, although that's not ever expressed, but I think the script specified it was 1938.
And we don't get a name of the city, do we?
Mm-mm. It's just the city.
The city, yeah.
Yeah. Which is weird because at the end he's like, "We're going into the city." It's like, weren't you in the city?
the other side of the city.
The city part of the city. So we meet a 10-year-old street urchin who sneaks into a warehouse where they're having an illegal card game, and he sees a massacre. A car bursts in, and a group of mobsters get killed at the hands of Flat Top and Itchy with some Tommy guns.
I'm sad they killed off Littleface so quick.
Littleface was a nightmarish terror.
and the brow.
Yeah.
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 Littleface reminded me of an Adventure Time character. It was we cut to Dick Tracy. He's at the opera with his best gal, Tess Trueheart. He gets
being a very inconsiderate ass.
Yeah, who answers a phone call at the opera? Come on.
And then loudly talk.
He's kind of like Batman, though. He kind of has to.
You can be like, hold on, I'll go into the lobby. Like,
he didn't whisper though.
Yeah, no, he was loud. Like,
saying.
people turned and looked at him. You could see like the little silhouettes of people turning and looking. The whole opera had to know about him. So yeah, he goes to investigate the crime, and figures out it's Big Boy because of the walnuts,
walnuts,
or not. No, that's later on at the warehouse. This time he goes to investigate the card game.
There's a message written in bullet holes on the wall. Eat lead, Tracy.
That's right. Suck it, Tracy. Suck it, Dick. He goes back to the opera because he wanted to know how it turned out. After the opera, Tracy and Tess, who wants Tracy to take a desk job so they can get married and he'll be safe. Tracy wants to stay on the street.
I'm sorry. Is he not in an office at his desk?
Like all the time?
Almost all the time. But there are calls from the public for him to be the chief of police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, we got a perfectly good chief.
I can do more on the streets.
Yeah. I'm going to go out and Tracy those bitches. So they go.
Tracy?
I'm going to dick them. I'm going to dick them down good. They go out to eat. Then we meet mob boss Lips. He's at his nightclub. His mall, Breathless Mahoney, is also a singer there. The bloom is off the rose in Lips and Breathless's relationship. They get kidnapped by some of Big Boys' boys. Some Big Boys' boys.
Why does he eat like that? Is that because his lips, or are his lips like that because he eats only oysters all day?
He has he has a disability.
It's called oyster mouth. Look at him.
This Dick Tracy is an early proponent of body acceptance.
Really is.
And extreme body modification.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if Breathless the entire time had been like Stevie from Malcolm in the Middle, just like Dick Tracy
in an iron lung?
Yeah.
Oh no, he has health problems.
Okay, so did Breathless plan this kidnapping?
Oh well,
No.
because of the whole.
Did she plan this manless?
The whole
assassination.
At what point did the plan kick in?
The whole no face. What is the blank plan that she had?
The I'm gonna blame you for kidnapping Tess.
I feel like it was after
plan.
the lips thing. That's a bit unclear when she started dressing up as a no face dude and talking like Princess Leia at Jabba's palace.
Well, yeah, like Surly looks out for one guy. Surly. I mean, she basically says something to that effect. So I think she'll switch sides. It doesn't matter. Whatever protects or benefits her.
Yeah, but I don't think she had the plan at this point. I think it came up after Big Boy.
Yeah, after Lips Manless is out of the picture, then she's like, well, okay, now I just got to get rid of this guy and this guy, and I'll be number one.
Number one.
Yeah, then finally I'll be able to catch my breath.
Just relax.
So Lips gets taken to a warehouse
where he's put it in dip. The bath.
The bath. He gets murdered by Big Boy after signing his nightclub over to Big Boy.
So is the bath the cement or the water after the cement?
It's a little of both. It's a little of both, I think.
A cement river bath.
Old cement river
frankly,
bath.
they should have waited for the cement to set before they put it in the river, because that's really
absolutely.
That's really going to hurt that process.
Yeah, it's going to keep it from hardening. Fuck, was it? Never mind.
Okay.
Continue.
They Big Boy declares that everything Lips owned, he now owns. Then
that's what I was going to say. There was no notary. I don't think the signing over of that deed
was legal.
Legit.
Breathless is a notary.
She's like, and then I stamp here.
Yeah, out of her cleavage, she pulls out one of those metal embossing stamps.
Or was Numbers there? He might be a notary.
Oh, Numbers is probably a notary.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
So, then...
indeed.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on their way to the Five and Diner, Dick Tracy runs into the kid who just stole a watch, chases him down, and beats up, Huck Finn's dad, who's been making him steal stuff.
I think his name was Steve the Tramp, but I'm not sure.
Steve the Tramp.
But he's like sort of a, what was his name, Fagin character in Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his little shanty house.
By the railroad track.
In Shantytown.
Yeah. Although he had a really nice plot. It was just that one shack on like a half acre. Like,
sure.
Yeah. Good yard.
Railroad around him. Yeah.
He probably had a garden.
Yeah. Sit out on the.
He was called Sam the Stable.
He got to sit out on the porch and watch his kid frolic in the yard stealing watches. Eating frogs like Grogu. Anyways, so he beats up Steve the Tramp and takes the kid back to feed him at the diner. They decide they're just going to keep him for a while. We'll call the orphanage later.
The orphanage. The orphanage.
Yeah, Tracy.
The kid's not really like a witness to a crime or anything. Like there's no detective reason for him to keep him.
Right.
Or testimony.
I thought going into this with him witnessing the whole crime that was going to be a plot point, but it was not in any way whatsoever.
The kids' montage was just eating.
They kept him because he's hungry.
Which was fun. I liked the montage and him being hungry all the time. All that was
a lot
fun.
of people had a montage.
Yeah, there were a number of montages. Tracy gets called to the warehouse to investigate the crime scene, and this is where he finds the earring and the walnuts.
Yes. Some of the little detective work.
He hauls in Flat Top, Itchy, and Mumbles to interrogate them.
Do we know that they eat walnuts? I'm sorry, the walnuts thing, I was confused. I guess I wasn't paying attention.
He knows Big Boy.
He knows Big Boy's into walnuts.
But they're walnuts. I don't know.
A lot of people eat walnuts.
You can buy walnuts at the store.
But apparently...
he has to carry a nutcracker because you can't really get...
Apparently, Big Boy just goes around eating walnuts everywhere. He's well known for this. I would point out that we never see him walking around eating walnuts again after the initial walnuts.
He's out there on to me. I'm a cashew man now.
Yeah, it should have been super obvious that he's the walnut man.
He should have continued eating walnuts throughout.
Do you know the walnut man?
Who can take a walnut, crack it, then eat it?
Anyone with?
Anyone can do that. Yes, they're walnuts. He interrogates Flat Top, Itchy, and Mumbles. He apparently has a polar bear water dispenser, which is
so
way
weird.
too fancy for no reason.
Well, it becomes a bugging device, right?
Yes.
It turns out that it is.
But the tap in his crotch.
Yeah. Oh my God, it is, isn't it? That's the polar dick.
Yeah. The Arctic seal.
So he goes to the club to arrest Big Boy for Lips's murder.
One of my favorite scenes was Big Boy coaching Breathless and the girls in the song.
Big Boy suddenly was
Bob
just
Fosse
way too into the show.
Or a chorus song.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like Dom DeLuise at the end of Blazing Saddles. Like, watch me.
Yeah. No, and like Bob Fosse, he was a tyrant with those people like, practice, 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 let's go.
Yeah. And
he slams the piano lid on 88 Keys' hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 88 keys.
Big
Boy ain't one.
We find out 88 Keys is the best piano player in town.
Mm-hmm. And Big Boy just acquired all of these different rackets and operations that Lips ran, but he really wants to focus all of his energy on running this nightclub and perfecting this act.
This one particular number he wants to get right.
So,
well, all his hard work paid off because it was gold in the end.
The crowd loved it. It's a live nightclub act. It's not like it's for like a movie or something.
Choreographed by Big Boy Capri.
Tracy arrives at the club, discovers that Big Boy now owns it. He arrests Big Boy. He interrogates Breathless. She tells him nothing, but she does try to seduce him. The next morning, Big Boy gets released from jail for lack of evidence. Tracy gets brought before the DA, who is running for mayor and has had enough of Tracy's maverick shenanigans.
He gets results, you stupid chief.
Yeah. Afterwards, Tracy and Tess buy the kids some clean clothes. They go out to the country for the day. And this was where we get the kid being hungry montage. It kind of made me hungry, honestly. Kid ate a lot of food. 1930s food looks great.
I guess it was kind of another Oliver Twist reference, you know.
Yeah.
Food, glorious food.
Yeah. When they get home, Tracy tries to get the courage to propose to Tess, but before they can, they get drive-by'd.
Yeah.
Tracy goes into the office, calls him breathless, and she tries to seduce him again. There was scene after scene of him like, tell me what you know. No, but let's fuck.
Yeah. And then she kisses him, right? As Tess walks in. Is that
No, that's not this scene. She does kiss him in this scene.
Jesus.
They kissed 3 times in this movie. Dick is not great to his girlfriend.
He's a cad.
Yeah. If he's interested in marrying Tess, he should not be allowing Breathless Mahoney to kiss him. That is my hot take, and I'm sticking with it.
I don't remember them kissing in this scene.
I thought it was they kiss once in the office, once in his apartment, and then at the end when she's dying.
Yep. There's a lot of kissing.
All right.
Maybe it's not the scene, but one of these times when they're interrogating, they kiss. I can't remember which one because there's a number of them.
So then we cut to the evil board meeting.
Yes. Yep. Big Boy calls in a meeting with all of the mob bosses. James Caan is there. As Spud Spaldani, Pruneface, Influence, Texie Garcia, Ribs Mocha, Numbers. Spaldoni refuses to go along with Big Boy, and he gets killed in a car bomb. Dick Tracy showed up and was trying to overhear what they were saying by climbing up the building and standing next to the window.
Yeah. Here we learn that Big Boy doesn't want Tracy killed, although everybody else wants Tracy killed, but Big Boy would be implicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If Dick Tracy ever got shot.
Yeah. It would have been hilarious if the rest of the movie was just Big Boy protecting Dick Tracy as the others tried to kill him.
Jumping in front of bullets.
Yeah.
For
but trying to do it without Dick Tracy knowing, so it's a lot of him like in the background behind Dick Tracy, like running and tackling the other mobsters.
And this is our first appearance of the blank in the movie, I believe.
Yeah.
The blank-faced man observes.
Yes, that's right.
The car exploding.
Yes. So the next day, Big Boy and his henchmen kidnap Tracy. They try to bribe him. Tracy refuses. The kid did his patented standing on the bumper as they drive. Good thing cars all had that same kind of build in the 30s so that he could just hang on to the back of every car.
Yeah, they all had those running boards.
Yeah. So, Dick Tracy gets saved by the kid. So I would point out that at no point was Dick Tracy's legs tied to that chair. He could have stood up and walked around at any point. It was a wooden chair.
It was really heavy wood.
Okay. Sure. So yeah.
The kid is awarded an honorary detective certificate,
which will remain temporary until he decides to give himself a name. Much like naming the princess from the Neverending Story. Until he has a name, he can't be a real girl. We cut to Big Boy meeting with the DA in the cemetery. And, oh, Rob. Sorry. Dick Van Dyke deep cut there, everybody.
Was that?
Oh, yeah.
Was Dick Van Dyke the DA or the mayor?
DA.
He was the DA.
He was running
for mayor. He was
running for mayor. Okay.
The dirty DA. Yeah.
Right. That Dick Tracy wanted to get him to sign warrants and shit against Big Boy and have people testify.
Yeah, and the DA is like, "No, you're a maverick," but
no, I'm sorry, but are we at the scene where they're in the graveyard?
Yes.
Okay, so their car is parked right there behind the DA. So they got out of their car, walked all the way to the far end of the cemetery so that they could walk up towards the DA.
Yes.
Talking as they do.
Yes.
They came from the other direction.
They were visiting a grave of a
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we discovered the DA's dirty. He tells Tracy that he can't prosecute Big Boy for trying to kill him because he's got a dozen witnesses that put him somewhere else. Breathless shows up at Tracy's apartment. This is where she kisses him for the second time, and Tess sees it happening. She gets upset, but doesn't confront Tracy about the kiss. Then No Face, then Blank, who has no face, meets with 88 Keys, tells him to take this letter to Big Boy. It says, "Do you like me? Check the box." Yes or no?
Yes or no?
He proposes he's going to take care of Tracy for Big Boy in return for 10% of Big Boy's business.
Do you want to get rid of Tracy? Check this box.
Big Boy
plus 6 albums for 1 penny.
Yeah. Big Boy refuses to take the deal. That night, Tracy does a raid on the Club Ritz, which is actually a diversion, while Bug Bailey goes into the attic and apparently stays there for weeks.
And they do this like beer baron, what kind of pet stores open? 3 a.m. The best damn pet store in town.
Yeah, they flip over like the chips thing and it's cigarettes on top. Like it's a real
things spin around.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Again, Bugs has to physically sit in the attic to listen to what Big Boy's doing. It seems like it's weeks. It seems like he's up there a long time.
With a polar bear and with a dick.
Yeah. We get a montage of a bunch of raids that are wiping out Big Boy's criminal empire. Eventually, though, Bugs slips up and spills his coffee. He had 1 cup of coffee up there for his 7-month stint in the attic.
He's all, damn.
That was my only cup of coffee. Where was he peeing? Where was he?
He only had 1 cup of coffee. He wasn't
had to physically be in the attic.
Yeah,
he had to stay up there. Moderate. He didn't come and go. It's so confusing. I don't know. It's Dick Tracy. It doesn't matter if it's confusing. So anyways, he discovers Bug in the attic and captures him for a trap. They call Tracy to a warehouse. There's a gun battle, and No Face steps out of the shadows to save Tracy after he gets cornered and kills Prune Face. So Tracy saves Bug from the cement. Why did Dick Tracy have to walk under the cement himself and ruin his gun?
I was so confused by this whole, why wouldn't you avoid the concrete?
Why did you get Bugs out and then walk directly underneath the concrete? I don't understand, Dick.
He had to untie the ropes?
But then he just stayed there while Bugs was just gone. We didn't see Bugs running away. It was suddenly just Dick there.
Dramatic effect.
Dick.
Dramatic effect Dick.
That's what my nickname is. Anyways. Yeah, sorry. So, he rescues Bug, and Big Boy is enraged that the blank foiled the hit. Then Tess decides to leave town, and she leaves the kid with the chief at the diner to be taken to the orphanage at a still later date.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he's trying out a rescue dog.
Big Boy decides to take up the blank's deal. Tracy again tries to get the testimony from Breathless. She agrees to testify if Tracy will agree to have sex with her, basically. Or say... this is where they kiss. This is where they kiss for the second time. I'm sorry. This is the second kiss. It came after the kiss that Tess saw.
Yeah.
He decides that he's not going to be with Tess or with Breathless. He loves Tess. Tess at her mother's house decides, hey, you know what? I will go back to Dick Tracy because, I don't know, being with my mom sucks or something.
It takes a lot of understanding to love a man like that, and apparently Tess has a lot of understanding. I want to state that all Dick Tracy had to do was say that he wanted Breathless. He didn't have to do anything else. All she was demanding was, just tell me you want me. And that's it. But he couldn't do it because it would hurt someone he cared about.
He was already making out with her.
I know.
You can... if a lady comes and tries to kiss you, you can say no. You're allowed to do that. You don't have to let the lady kiss you.
But he could have said, yes, I want you, but we're not going to do anything about it. And that would have satisfied her demands. Really.
I mean, the letter of it, but I think the understanding was that,
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
So, all right.
The letter of the law.
Yeah. She's like, well, you technically satisfied the words I just said, so I have no choice but to tell you. I, Breathless Mahoney, stick strictly to...
Dick Strictly.
Yeah. Strictly Dickly. That's a phrase no one says anymore. I remember that in the 90s. Girls saying, I'm strictly Dickly.
I do not.
I don't remember that. Tracy's worried about Tess's return.
Yeah. So, but she gets kidnapped by the blank with the help of 88 keys.
It sounds like you're avoiding saying a controversial word. By the blank.
The welfare office is coming for the kid. Finally.
Yeah, finally. Tracy gets drugged. He's rendered unconscious. And he gets framed for murdering Dick Van Dyke.
I wish that was the crime, not the DA.
Dick Van Dyke as himself.
You killed Dick Van Dyke. That's a capital offense.
It is. So he gets arrested. The kid adopts the name Dick Tracy. Big Boy's making money. We get another montage.
Crime montage.
Then the blank.
Tracy in jail.
Yes. Then the blank frames him for Tess's kidnapping. And puts Tess in the club, tied up. And then when Dick Tracy, it's New Year's Eve. So he had to spend Christmas in jail, I assume?
Potentially.
That's rough, man.
Yeah, it is.
On Christmas Eve, his cop friends release him. New Year's Eve, I'm sorry. His cop friends release him from jail. And
Pat Patton, okay, generic name, but Sam Ketchum. That's a cop name.
That is a cop
totally
name.
It is.
They take him to the club. Or no, I'm sorry. They take him to interrogate Mumbles. who gives away the plot. He goes and arrives at the Club Ritz, where there's where suddenly everyone's just shooting everybody.
They're killing everybody up in here.
Yeah. Big Boy's men, they're trying to get out with Tess. What's funny is they're like, get her out of here. We don't want them to think we kidnapped Tess. But they're kidnapping her in their attempt to not kidnap her.
I noticed that too.
Just let her go. Just be like, just leave, Tess. Just go. They don't have to physically force her out.
Big Boy falls in love with her in a few.
He said precisely, they're forcing me to use you as a hostage.
Yeah, that's what everyone who takes a hostage says.
Yeah.
You're making me do this.
You made me do it.
No one's like, I'm taking you hostage. Let's go see a movie. All right.
I mean, if they did, more people would like to be hostages.
Yeah, I'd love to be kidnapped on a Tuesday morning, preferably.
So Tracy's now locked in the attic, and he has his friend Pat jump down to vault him up through the skylight window, and now Pat is stuck in the attic.
He's all, you're not a main character.
That was a fun bit of business with the weight. 190, 210.
Yeah. He wears a girdle.
Yeah. So Big Boy runs away with Tess. He's really actually kidnapping her at this point. He gets to a drawbridge and runs.
Doing his best Quasimodo. You just see a drawbridge.
Yeah.
The whole thing where he sends all his men out in cars to get gunned down in the street while he runs out to this underground trolley thing down to the river.
Yeah.
Come on, big boy. I thought you were a big boy.
And if you keep going further down, it's Lex Luthor's apartment.
Yeah, so they go into the gear room of the bridge, where he fights Dick Tracy. I think Dick Tracy. We saw Dick Tracy punching out 4 guys with 1 punch earlier. I think he could take Big Boy no problem.
Yeah, he's a little dude. Dunkachino.
Yeah, but then the blank appears and holds both men at gunpoint. He offers to share the city with Tracy after Big Boy is dead. Dick Tracy Jr., the kid, arrives. And Big Boy takes advantage of the distraction, opens fire, and then Tracy pushes him. And he falls into what appears to be a bottomless pit.
Yeah. Should have been a vat of some kind.
Yeah.
He'll be back in the sequel, man. Totally. If the sequel comes back, Chino's coming back to play that character.
I think the sequel was that interview we saw.
That was the third. It's a Dick Tracy trilogy. They did one in 2011 too.
Oh my God. I hope that Al Pacino does the next one with him.
By the way, they aired that on Turner Classic Movies. They put that on television.
Yeah. Wow.
So all right. Dick Tracy Jr. rescues Tess. Mortally wounded, the blank is unmasked to reveal it's breathless Mahoney. She kisses Dick Tracy.
Carol stirring a weird voice that I bet Charles Fleischer actually did.
She does the voice to prove that it was her, even though
it's like the trachea.
Yeah, no, like I said, it
voice.
sounded just like Princess Leia being the bounty hunter in Jabba's castle.
Yeah.
So yeah, she kisses Dick Tracy again, and again, Dick.
I wish she had kissed him when she still had the blank mask on.
He's like
just smashing her face against his.
Or no. He had mask her, and then she goes to kiss him. He's like, no, put the mask back on first.
He's like, I've always wanted to do it with a blank.
So yeah.
At least she's dying this time.
Yeah.
Yes, his girlfriend who just came back because she loves him so much is in the other room.
A kiss before dying. Yeah.
But yeah, so all charges against Dick Tracy are dropped. Later on, he kind of proposes to Tess. But
he gives the kid a radio watch.
Yeah, gives the kid a radio watch.
We never really talked about that. He was an honorary. He's a member of the force, and then if he had chosen a name, he would officially be. It wouldn't still be an honorary.
I mean, to be fair,
he would be a detective
in the 30s. That's all it took.
No, it's still honorary. It's just he had a temporary certificate.
I thought he was going to get a badge.
He had to get his permanent certificate. He had to get a name to get his permanent.
I'm pretty sure in the 30s if you walked in, I'm pretty sure in the 30s if you walked into a police station, they're like, "What? Well, do you have a name? Yes, you're on the force."
Yeah,
honorarily.
Yeah,
honorarily. Until you choose a name.
Yeah, until you choose a name.
Dirk Diggler.
So yeah, they get called away. And the kid and Dick go off to respond to the robbery.
Tracy does toss a ring to Tess.
Yeah.
So a wordless proposal, I suppose.
I guess.
Did it with their eyes.
And
no more lonely nights.
The kid finally admits that he likes this dame.
That's right.
That was a cute line from earlier when he says, like their first meeting, the kid says, "I don't like dames," and she says, "I don't like dames either."
Yeah, no, there was a lot like there. Like I said,
like uppity little kids.
There was a lot of fun, light banter in this. Like the moment to moment fun stuff was great. Absolutely,
yeah.
Like it was much better than I remembered it being. Like my memory of it from 1990 or whenever I last saw it was that it was like a very like straight Dick Tracy's getting like. I didn't realize it was. I didn't remember it being so light and fun.
Yeah, I remember thinking it was more hokey.
Yeah.
Than it actually was. I mean, I feel like everyone accomplished what they were trying to do. I agree with Roger and Gene. Like he could have focused on himself more. Maybe there was more attention to the Rogues Gallery and the art production, which I think is fantastic.
I mean, that was something
he killed it with that, but then there's not a lot of, detective work. Fine. There's more of her singing and on stage.
I mean, that's something that really set Batman apart from this, besides the fact that it was really just trying to be Batman, was that Michael Keaton was an actual interesting Bruce Wayne and Batman. Yes. Warren Beatty was not an interesting Dick Tracy.
And every iteration of Batman, they take the time to establish that he is a detective.
Mm-hmm.
And that when he's not wearing the costume, he's literally investigating crimes. Dick just has to be in his office to get a phone call.
Yeah, and he has to know that Big Boy loves walnuts.
That was another thing they asked when you joined the force.
Not established. Did they eat nuts together?
No. We saw
when he has the evil board meeting, he offers everyone walnuts, which again, not a practical snack.
We saw him eating walnuts when he was in the scene where he was putting lips in the bath. He was eating walnuts there. That's it.
Would it be like having a meeting of friends and being like, snow crab legs? Just like, I'm going to give you a job. There's food in there somewhere.
I think it'd be hilarious if lobster and snow crab as finger food.
An evil meeting.
Walking around, you get like a full lobster, like a plate of hors d'oeuvres. You're standing.
Yeah, it's like the scene in Godfather 2 where they're passing around the gold telephone.
Yeah,
but it's just a lobster.
So, yeah, that was the movie. I don't know. What sort of unanswered questions we got, guys?
When's the sequel to the video that we just watched coming out?
In 12 years, once the rights are about to run out again.
I don't have unanswered questions. I feel like they created their world and they didn't leave a lot of room for, how's that possible?
Yeah.
It was insular. It all worked. I think he accomplished what he was going for.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my humble opinion.
Is anybody actively pursuing this? That he has to, I mean, obviously he has to kick the can down the road, but is somebody like, I want to make a Dick Tracy?
Well, I think Thoreau mentioned that early on. It was the syndication company, the syndicate that wanted to take back the Reds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, 2022 or 3, I don't know if anyone was stalking him
right
for the Reds.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if anyone in this year is like, let's come on, Dick Tracy, we got to jump on that.
Yeah, gumshoe detective stories aren't hot right now.
From a syndicated comic strip.
Yeah.
From the third, like I said, Ella found it delightful, but there's no reason the Zoomers would know about or go out to a Dick Tracy movie.
We barely knew.
We barely did. Yeah.
So yeah, Dick Tracy, man, that was it.
I don't think this movie could be improved upon. There's no reason to make it again.
Yeah, I mean, it was the most Dick Tracy movie possible. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It dicked all the Tracy.
It ticked all the boxes.
So
it traced all the dicks.
Tracing dicks since ancient man
and turn them into like it's like doing a turkey for in kindergarten. It's a turkey dick
where they put their hand.
The hand, yeah, but it's with a dick.
Dick tracing. That's what conservatives think is happening at public school.
That's the future liberals want. Is turkey dicks.
Is dick tracing.
All right. That's about it for Dick Tracy. I believe we have covered it in full.
Yeah, it was a decent length as far as
as far as
time-wise.
go.
Yeah, Brian was the first.
As far as Dick tracing goes.
No, it was a good length. Especially because he knew how to use it.
I mean, it was full and girthy throughout the film.
I thought so. It hit the right spots.
It didn't need another cut. Oh god.
They could have.
We're done. They could have.
The uncut version we got was just fine. Oh,
Dick Tracy, the circumcision.
Oh.
Saw 3. Saw 2.
All right.
Yeah, those are our dick jokes.
Let's rank it. Is this the worst dick jokes in the show, or
absolutely.
The biggest dick?
Absolutely. So that's it for Dick Tracy. Next week on Harmless Phosphorescence, we're going to be watching Tank Girl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tank Girl next week. That's going to be fun. Until then, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. I'm saying goodbye to Oxygen and you because the podcast is over. This is your host, Thoreau Smiley.
I'm Josh CC, and you can find me in a little shack by the railroad tracks.
Hold me down and shave my mustache. I'm Brian Lesh.
I'm Alaric Weber. Go suck an egg.
That's something that needs to come back, and it's
Go suck an egg. Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but it's provocative.
Me neither. I don't get it. I don't know how it can hurt your feelings.
Like with the shell or without? I don't know.
Yeah, I never understood that. Yeah.
It's like that Louis C.K. thing, like a whole bag or like a how many dicks in the bag?
All right, bye.
Bye.
She's the